the world. They can predict what kind of jobs you may excel in. They can predict how likely you are to stay in a long-term relationship. But they can also predict how likely you may be to develop a mental illness, including addiction. And that's true for both adults and also in children.
Let's go through these traits that are really important to understand. The first trait is sensation seeking. Describe it very specifically.
Sensation seeking is when your brain processes the upper dopamine differently than other. You like novelty, you like intensity, you're a risk taker. So you're gonna love public speaking, and you are less likely to be diagnosed with anxiety, so that's a plus for this personality trait. But the downside is because you like that high, you're gonna chase it. So children who are sensation seekers are more likely to use and abuse drugs and alcohol. So the fix is using that replacement therapy and finding healthy outlets for that extrovert, that sensation seeker, to get that thrill in other ways.
Second important trait, impulsiveness.
Impulsiveness is sometimes grouped together with sensation seeking, but they're actually different. So the difference is that impulsiveness, the child actually fails to consider the consequences. They're not thinking of what's going to happen tomorrow, and they make very quick decisions. So unlike the sensation seeker who's chasing the high, the impulsive child, if he or she feels bad today, even if they're going to get expelled tomorrow for using drugs, they don't care. Because if they feel bad right now, they're only concerned about today, here, now. So if you have an impulsive child, that's why mindfulness, meditation, some of these ways that build patience and helps kids to really strengthen that prefrontal cortex that puts the brakes on impulses, which, by the way, cognitive behavioral therapy does. That's why it's so effective for these children.
Anxiety sensitivity.
Anxiety sensitivity is very different. So sometimes this trait is described as the fear of fear. So if you're somebody who's a very anxious person, you have a test coming up. So when you have to speak in front of the classroom, that sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight, the norepinephrine, the cortisol, all of these, the adrenaline, it's sort of ramping you up. And a child with this trait is going to interpret those sensations in their mind and their body, right? So the racing thoughts, the heart beating fast, they're going to use catastrophic thinking, which is one of the things that I look for in cognitive behavioral therapy. And they're going to misinterpret those signals. They're going to say, what is this? Something's wrong with me. I'm not okay. I'm going crazy. So you can understand how in a very different way, this child will take this and say, I need to feel better right now. I'm going to use drugs. I'm going to smoke marijuana, something, anything to make me feel better. So what I would do with that child, I would use cognitive behavioral therapy to help them reinterpret these signals, to let them know that they're okay. And I teach parents to do this with their children as well, so that they don't have to turn to that Band-Aid for self-medication.
And how about this issue of hopelessness?
Yeah, hopelessness, I always say, Dr. Roz, in mental health, that hopelessness is the worst emotion that I see, the most dangerous, the most lethal. Because unlike sadness, hopelessness in and of itself means that it's never going to get better. Yeah, that's a thought pattern that implies permanence. And guess what happens? If I don't think things are ever going to get better, what's the point of moving on? What's the point of tomorrow, of caring about my life? And you can understand why somebody who is hopeless would say, what's the point anyways? So, with hopelessness, we've really got to get in there and help this child to learn how to be optimistic. We can teach optimism. We can teach people how to look for the what's right and not the what's wrong in their lives, that things do get better.
So a lot of this comes down, folks, to talking about it. So we did our big men's health survey recently, and nearly half of men, 46